Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is cinderxblocks and you are in for a treat today. This is something I haven't done yet for my channel and something I also don't really do too often in general, which is a community lot. So as you can see by the title, this is a Colonial inspired library. Again, like most of my builds, I don't really focus so much on themes outside of the outside of the build. So when I say colonial, what I mean is colonial exterior and then whatever I want to do on the inside for the interior. I was very inspired actually by Plumbella's more recent video where she did a retirement home, primarily just because you're seeing on the sides of the build, there's these kind of cutouts. She did that in her build. I've seen it in builds before in the past, different speed builds from different people. I've seen it in real life, of course. But I've never really done it in The Sims myself, so I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. Let me try to incorporate that. But I also wanted to do a library. So I was able to do it. It's not really that hard. The only problem with those kinds of cutouts is when it comes to doing windows. Of course, you can do windows however you choose, but sometimes it's kind of hard to place items around when there's just so many windows, and this is definitely that case. Fortunately, it's a library, so I wasn't super concerned, and I definitely think it works out in the end. But in terms of like a house or something like that, I think when people start playing The Sims and getting into building, they think that there should be a ton of windows in the house, when in reality, you kind of like less is more. Of course, I mean, I would never really build a room that doesn't have a window in it, especially if it's a closed off room like a bedroom. I would always have a window, just in case, because not really in case, well, that's just, you know, life. So who doesn't have a window in their bedroom? It'd be kind of weird, unless you maybe live in like a basement or something, you might not have a window, but if you live on a first or floor or above, you likely have a window. In any case, so here we are. So there are some weird cuts throughout this video. I'm trying my best here, okay? To focus on doing things step by step, doing the outside first, completing the exterior, then moving on to the inside and finishing that. Of course, you know, we run into different things throughout building and different things change, so, you know, it happens, but yeah. I kind of also really loved the way that this roofing comes out. It kind of reminds me of like an open book, but just kind of upside down, so kind of like a book face down on a table. It's kind of the idea for the roofing to me. I wanted to have these curved roofs. I almost always curve my roof this way. If you use Shift C when you're selected on a roof tile or a roof piece, it'll prop up these extra little bubbles that you can put more detail into your roof shape. That's a little thing that I'm sure most people know how to do, but it's definitely something that can really add that extra flair to your roofing. But yeah, so like I said, this is kind of a colonial. To me, colonial is fully brick, big pillars. That's kind of the colonial vibe to me. That's kind of why this gives me colonial. Of course, if you Google colonial, it's probably not going to look like this. But, you know, this is what I would consider colonial. At first, I was thinking of the word Americana for this build, but I don't know why. I think I just was not thinking of the word colonial, like it was not coming to mind, but that's what I mean. So it's definitely kind of colonial on the outside. The kind of backstory for this build in my mind is that this library is located in sort of a American town, an American small town. This used to be like the big city hall, like it used to be kind of the state capital or something, but now it's some random small town in like, I don't know, I kind of see like more New England, so definitely Pennsylvania, which is where I live. Definitely driven through so many small towns in PA that have buildings that look like this, so that's definitely kind of my inspiration behind this. It's definitely something that you would see in one of those towns where they have all of their war veterans photos from the past 200 years, not plastered, but hung up on the light fixtures like down the main street. Very much that vibe that we're going for. Whether it's pro-American or not, you know, I'm not the one to say, but it's kind of that vibe, and I just really enjoy the way that it does come out, especially on the outside. In terms of the inside, you'll see later in the video, I thought I finished the build, and then when I went to playtest it, there was this very odd issue that I've never run into before where my Sims could not use the stairs, but NPCs were using the stairs. It was very confusing. I'm not going to get into that, but I did cut that out. That was a lot of, like, a very big headache for me last night when I was trying to do this, because I just was like, oh, the build is just completed, but, you know, all of a sudden they can't get to the second floor, which was just really annoying. But we got it all figured out, so everything now is usable. You can find this build on the gallery. All of my information is in the description below. But yeah, I mean, I guess, like, how's everybody doing? This is a very interesting time that we're all living in right now. I know in Pennsylvania, I just heard on the radio that they're going to be lifting restrictions soon, and they were kind of talking about it positively, and I don't know if I necessarily agree, because if you pay attention to the news, we all know how those states and cities that lift all restrictions, how that does not really work in their favor, and they're not very smart in doing that. So for myself, I personally stay as safe as possible. I do not go anywhere without a mask. I do not eat out. I've eaten out one time in the last year, and that is only because my boyfriend and I took a trip to Salem and Boston, Massachusetts, and we got sushi out one time, and it was outdoor seating, and there was only one other table open, and they were about like 10 feet away from us. So I just don't take any risks, unnecessary risks. If you're hearing any weird noises in the background, it's just my cats, because he is really trying to get into this room right now, and I don't know why. But yes. But yeah, so I guess I'll just say, just be safe. Keep being safe. Do not think that if you hear on the news from your legislators that everything's good and everything's opening, that means that you can just go back to how your life used to be. We still need to stay vigilant. We still need to be safe. We still need to be protecting not only ourselves, but others around us. That is the main takeaway from this as an American, is seeing how well other countries do, because they are not as individualistic as American citizens are. We care way too much about our own well-being, so much so that we do not give a shit about how the person next to us is doing. So just be safe out there. Be safe for your loved ones. Be safe for the people that you care about, and be safe for yourself as well, because I mean, we never know what's going to happen. We don't know how long this is going to last. And of course, we all want to get to the other side of this, so just keep being safe. I don't know why I'm going on this random tangent about safety, but, you know, it's important. So just be safe, wear a mask. That's the best. Double mask if you can. But yeah, just limit the risks that you put yourself into. Okay, I've gone on about this for way too long, so anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's a library, so there's not really that much to really say about it. At first I wanted to use, well, one thing I did want to do was to use all of the same bookcases. That was the main thing I wanted to focus on, was having a singular bookcase throughout the whole build. Of course, there's a little kids section where they have the kids style bookcases. Obviously that's like kind of a separate area, but in the main parts of the library, I wanted them to have the same bookcases. You will see towards the end I do go back, because of the stair issue. I have to change things around, so it's not as mirrored as you're seeing it now. It does become a little more kind of thrown together. I love people who do libraries that are more like a used book library or bookstore, where there's just books everywhere and random bookcases and just vintage stuff everywhere. That's a very cool vibe. I don't have really enough packs at the moment to be able to really emulate that. Certainly in the end, this library does, on the surface, kind of look a lot more like a bookstore to me, which is fine. I mean, I enjoy that. It's still like a library. I mean, you can't really, that's kind of a, I don't know, I guess having a library kind of library takeout system in The Sims would be a little excessive, I would say. Like if they had, like how they have a librarian that gets automatically hired when you set a lot to a library, but you can't actually like take out books. It would be cool if they could figure out a way to do that, but I think just having it kind of, you can just go read and there's computers there, is the main idea. So I think if you were able to take books out, that would just get a little too complicated for sure. Because I guess you could just, yeah, I guess if you have Get to Work, you can just make a a bookstore, and it's kind of the same idea because you're gonna have. I wonder. I do get to work on PS4. I do wonder if you have a bookstore that sells books, or if you have a bookcase in a retail lot, can you still select the bookcase and read something? I wonder. I don't know. But yeah, so it's kind of just it's not really all over the place. I did want this build to be very spacious and not really that intense, but yeah, as you're seeing now, so I had to change the stairs. So this kind of did throw a little bit of a curveball at me, which kind of allowed for a cuter, more cool finished product, in my opinion. The big grand staircase in the beginning was definitely something I was into, but I do love a 2 or 3 wide staircase that's configured. I think that's so cool. I think that huge flat landing in the middle of the stairs is just so cool. So I'm actually really pleased that I was able to, or well, not able, but forced to do it like this. So it did actually end up coming out exactly how I wanted it, not necessarily how I envisioned it, but I'm still very overly pleased with the way that this build came out. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of seating area. Fortunately, in Snowy Escape, they have those vending machines. I mean, that was perfect. If they had a water fountain, okay, now Sims team, if you're listening to this, I'm sure that you are, please just add a water fountain, because that is just so cool. I think that the thing about The Sims is when they add just like these like normal items into the game, it just adds that weird, just like randomness. Like, who would think that there would be a water fountain? Obviously there's not. If there was, who would think that there would be one? I mean, that would be pretty cool. I don't know how much well, I guess it would get a lot of use. I mean, imagine like in the gym lots, in basically like any lot, community lot, you could have a water fountain. So yeah, that's I guess that's on my wish list from the Sims team, is to have a water fountain. If there is a water fountain in a pack somewhere, and let me know below. But to my knowledge, I don't think that there is. Of course, I've never had all of the packs, so who knows what's really out there. But yeah, so I'm just going around changing some colors of stuff. We're coming to the end of this. But yeah, like I said, this lot's available on the gallery. You can find it under my EAID cinderxblocks or the hashtag cinderxblocks. All of my social links are also in the description below, as well as all packs that I have currently installed that may appear in this build, so you know what you're getting into. But until next time, I hope that you all have an amazing day, and thank you all so much for watching.